So this may be hard for you to believe, but there was a time that I used to go by the name Ranty Flat Earth on YouTube. And yes, I was a flat earther for a period of my life. A lot of people have been asking me, why did you become a flat earther? What was the reason behind it? And I'm going to get into that video today. And this is a lesson not just for flat earthers, but for globe earthers, because there are lessons to be learned on both sides here. And it's all to do with optics and observations, because sometimes what you see is just what you see, and other times you can see things that aren't really there. Now for me, I would go down to the beach and I would often see way too far. I put hundreds of videos out. I was down there probably every day for around about 3.5 years, taking videos and photographs, and I would put them on my own channel, and then I would also go to Nathan Oakley's Flat Earth Debates and present that imagery there. Unfortunately, my imagery brought a lot of people into the flat earth, and they believed in the earth being flat because of what I was presenting. I'm going to show you some of those videos and photographs that I took, go through the reasoning as to why people would think that the earth was flat based upon them, and then I'll get to the reasons why you shouldn't always believe your eyes. Let's roll the credits. So hopefully my audio is okay on this different setup. Hopefully it's not too different and putting you off, but we'll see how that goes. Anyway, this was my old YouTube channel. It's now called Brandon's, and to find the channel you have to actually type in Brandon's Flat Earth, and this will bring up some of the videos, in fact probably all of the videos that I ever done on that channel. Now I get asked often what was the reason that I came into Flat Earth and got interested in that, and that was because I watched Eric Dubé's 100 Proofs of Flat Earth, and the thing that impressed me the most about that was the fact that we see too far. And as I am very inquisitive and nosy for these kind of things, I decided to buy myself a P900 camera and go down to the beach and basically see if it matched up, see if I could see too far. And having gone down to the beach, I realised that I could see too far, so I decided to go over to Barrow-in-Furness. And one of the videos there was Flat Earth mirror balls seen from 19 miles. And that is what happened. I went down to the beach at Barrow-in-Furness and I filmed across the ocean and I was able to see the mirror ball. Now I've paused the video here at 45 seconds in, and as you can see, we are seeing Blackpool Tower. We are seeing the big one, we're seeing the ice blast, we're seeing most of the illuminations, and I do go into great detail as to why you can't see some of the illuminations in the centre of this image, and it all makes sense. And on the far right, we'll actually scroll in a second and you'll see the mirror ball. There we go. There is the mirror ball. Right smack bang in the centre there. Now then, the mirror ball is not very high off the ground at all. In fact, at this time, I'm going to estimate it was anywhere from 30 to 50 feet above the actual water at the time. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it certainly wasn't very high, and you should not be seeing that on a globe. Now, I want to get into the idea that globe earthers think that flat earthers are stupid. And sometimes they are and sometimes they are not, because at the end of the day, if somebody was walking down the street and you saw them, and then they said, no, you didn't see me, but you saw them, you know you saw them, because you believe your own eyes. You know that you saw that person walking along the street. And if somebody said to you, no, you didn't actually see that person wasn't really there, you would think that they were the ones that were lying to you, and you wouldn't go against what you saw with your own eyes. And this is a point that flat earthers and globe earthers need to come to agreement on, is that yes, sometimes we see too far. Sometimes we see stuff that shouldn't be seen. It's as simple as that. And to just hand wave it away and say that you are stupid, you're not really seeing that, it's not really there, your eyes are wrong, etc., etc., that you have to explain to them why. and you have to reason with them why. But you first have to accept it. You have to accept the argument from the flat earther that what they actually are seeing, they are seeing. You have to agree with that, because otherwise you're going to get nowhere. And I see it often. Globe earthers will attack flat earthers when they say that they are seeing these things, and they'll try to discredit them in any way, shape, or form, rather than just accepting that we do see it. Yes, that is there. It's simple. It ends the argument there and then. If you agree with them that you see it, you agree it. And then you're on the level footing. Then you can go into other things. You can move past that. But this idea that you must be stupid if you see these things and you can't believe what you're seeing, it doesn't wash with a flat earther when you're trying to discuss it with them. You first have to agree that you see it, and then you have to educate them as to why. And that can be tricky, because if you're a flat earther, you are automatically believing that everyone's against you, and that these people that are coming after you are in some way connected to the elites. It's a thing that unless you are a flat earther, you wouldn't really understand, because having to get to the point of being a flat earther, you have to believe that everyone's lying to you. So in order to bring them back from this deception and this supposed deception, you have to start agreeing with them on some of these things. And it's really difficult. It's hard to do. Now, for me personally, this wasn't the only type of imagery that I saw, but the first time I go over to Barrow in Furness and I see the mirror ball, and I see the ice blast, and I see the big one, and I see all of Blackpool Tower, and I shouldn't be seeing it. And here I am going through the exact GPS of where I was, how far away it was. I've lined everything up. I've been using Google Earth. I've done everything correctly. I go into great detail about how much should be hidden. And for me, for my first road trip going out and seeing this was essentially all I needed. And I didn't want to believe that refraction was a thing. Because what you're effectively saying when you say that you are seeing this but you're not really seeing it is that it's not really there, but you have to try and educate them as to why this is the truth. Now, I saw the mirror ball from here. It was great imagery. It was shown around quite a lot, and a lot of people have used this image and video as proof of a flat earth. Now, as I scroll down the list of all these old videos, as you can see, the views aren't particularly high, but the imagery in some of these was used in many different videos and memes, etc., to prove a flat earth. They all originated from what I presented on this channel and what I presented on Nathan Oakley's Flat Earth Debates. And I was honestly 100% convinced that the Earth was flat. The amount of research that I went into to find things like boats, like for instance, this boat. How did I find that boat? I used ship AIS, which gave me its exact position at the exact time that I filmed it, and it was 29 miles away. 29 miles away from an observer height of no more than 30 feet or so. You shouldn't be seeing that on a globe, and you're asking people to deny what they're seeing. And I was getting this imagery all the time. Some fantastic shots that essentially are shore to shore. I was also looking for any kind of reasons as to why sometimes you won't see them. Sometimes the effects of atmosphere, what kind of thing that has on these imagery. Shark boat is a perfect example of that. Perspective versus curvature, a boat disappearing into basically an inferior mirage. These things were real effects that I was looking into, because I wanted answers. I was genuinely looking for answers and for the truth. Now, why was my imagery so good as a flat earther? Well, as you can see, I am physically measuring, using tape measures, etc., my exact height above sea level, and obviously showing my location, etc. I was very, very thorough in what I was showing you. I would go into great detail to know all the different elevations from all different places along the promenade in Blackpool. This particular observation, I believe was taken from Anchor's home. And it's an absolutely fantastic proof. If you're a flat earther, you could show this imagery off everywhere and say, look how good this imagery is. This absolutely proves flat earth. And it's great imagery. I'm not going to deny it. It is great proof if you're a flat earther. It doesn't mean it's the truth. It just means that what you are seeing is an optical effect called refraction. And I will get to that in the end. But first and foremost, you have to appreciate that if you are seeing this and presenting it, it's very, very persuasive to people who want to believe the flat earth. Now here we have Devonshire Dock Hall. It should not be seen from 18.1 miles away. It's as simple as that. But yet here we see it in all its glory. And not just that, just watch some of this imagery. As I scan through, we're seeing the peninsula at Barrow-in-Furness, something that is less than 20 feet or so high. This little mound is about 20 foot high. That mound here, just go back a tad. This mound here is about 20 foot high. I stood on that mound, that exact mound I stood there. It was about 20 feet above the water. But here we see it. Devonshire Dock Hall. Walney Lighthouse. There we go. Walney Lighthouse. Literally on the sands in Barrow. A long way away. And this proof, when I presented it, was shown everywhere. Everybody believed this kind of imagery because I was presenting it almost on a daily basis. I could go down and see this. And globe earthers would say to me, I do not know what's going on in your location, because it was genuinely really difficult to refute when you're seeing this. This is what the camera recorded. This is also what I was seeing through my own eyes. And you're talking there should have been hundreds of feet missing here. None of that lighthouse should have been seen at all. But here we clearly see all of it. We even see the house behind it. There's a little house attached to it, and it's here. This was phenomenal footage. And you've got to accept that we do see these things. So this is why I became a flat earther, because of this. And I wanted an answer. Globe earthers were telling me, it's refraction, it's refraction, it's refraction. I didn't believe them. And obviously when I came back to the globe, people were shocked. I mean, that there is the lifeboat station. That here, where my cursor is right now, is the lifeboat station. That little hatch there is where the lifeboats come out of into the water. The lifeboat station. It's 15 or 16 miles away, and we are seeing the hatch where the boats come out of. And in a moment, I'm going to zoom back out and show you my exact location. Here we go. As you saw before, I was measuring the steps that I am actually on right now, so that I could give an accurate height above actual sea level at this time. Here, I'm going to show you exactly where I am. It's no more than just a few feet above the water, genuinely. Shouldn't be seen on a globe without inferring refraction. And as we zoom in, again, you can see over here we've got the lifeboat station, we've got Walney Lighthouse here, and we've got Devonshire Dock Hall here. And I've just lowered myself a little bit more. So to deny that you actually see this is stupid, really, because we do actually see it. It's there. It's visible. And I have these observations, hundreds, if not thousands, of imagery just like this. And for me, this is all I needed. And this was all that flat earthers needed too. But an image did pop up, taken from a different location looking at Blackpool, and it completely destroyed my belief in flat earth. And that's because it is impossible on a flat earth. And the question always remained for me, was I seeing what I was seeing down at the beach when I saw shore to shore? Or was it refraction that the globe earthers were telling me? And I wasn't getting the answers from anyone. In fact, my mind was completely made up. And at this point in my flat earth journey, I hadn't done any video photography down at the beach for around about 6 months because I was pretty convinced. I had enough imagery to last me a lifetime showing shore to shore. Why did I need to keep going down every day to do it? I had enough. And when this image came up, I decided to analyze it just out of curiosity. And what I found, it blew me away because it definitely proved that the Earth was a globe. And that because of where this image was taken from, and because it had very little water actually affecting the optics with refraction, I was able to determine conclusively that this was not being affected by severe or extreme refraction, and that it was just a pure representation of what my location and what goes on in it actually is. And the mountains in the background versus Blackpool Tower, it's abundantly clear that there is substantial drop over the same area that I was filming across. Now, I was filming across water, and that was obviously giving very strong refraction. And this image here is absolute proof that what I was seeing, I wasn't actually seeing. I was seeing, for all intents and purposes, a mirage, or I shouldn't trust my eyes, and the camera was seeing it, but it really wasn't there. It really was being lifted up from behind Earth curve. And this image proves it, beyond a shadow of a doubt. In this image here, you can actually see that Bev Try-Thinking, another, well, let's just call him a level earther, he went down and he recreated the same image. And as you can see, it matches up perfectly. There's no difference. You still see the crag between the two mountains to the right-hand side of Blackpool Tower. You still see the mountains in relation to Blackpool Tower. And it's very obvious that this is a repeatable observation, so it wasn't just a one-off picture. And by analysing it properly, and not making things up about it, being realistic with it, you can determine for yourself that the Earth is a globe. In this image here that I took from Google Earth, you can actually make out all the features on the mountain ridge because it's covered in snow. You can actually plot where the ridges are in relation to where the base of the mountain should be, and you can clearly see that there is substantial drop behind Blackpool Tower. In this other image here from Phil Nye, the physics guy, you can actually see, because he plotted it out using, I think it was NASA imagery of the terrain, and flat earthers don't get upset by the word NASA imagery. It's just a map essentially of what the terrain looks like, and it's all mapped out and scaled out properly, and this is what you should see. And it just doesn't work for a flat earth. It really doesn't. You can see the crag, you can see the ridges, because the image is so good in the snow covered one that I analysed originally, that you can see all the ridges on it. You know exactly what you're looking at and how high that mountain is and where the rest of the terrain is. So you know for a fact that the mountain has dropped behind Blackpool Tower. There's no other way to argue it other than to accept that half the mountain is missing. It's below eye level in regards to this image. Here's another image that I did for Rachy. That's Rachy 00000. And yeah, as you can see, this image might have helped her come back to the globe because she was a flat earther too. And obviously this created a lot of waves at the time, and I'm sure that it wasn't the only reason why she became a globe earther, but it surely would have helped. And I made this image specifically for her. And as you can tell, with the lined up, scaled up imagery, that half the mountain, again, it's below eye level. It's below where the Blackpool Tower is. Half of the mountain has dropped in relation to Blackpool. In this image here, you can see that all of the red area of the mountain, or 350 meters or so, is lower than eye line. Absolutely. So the question is, when I went down to the beach and I saw this beautiful photography and video footage that I showed you earlier in the video that flat earthers would use and convinced me that the earth was flat, and I was being told that no, it's refraction that's causing this, I didn't believe it. But seen from a different perspective with a bigger picture, eliminating the refractive conditions going over water, you actually get presented with this type of imagery here that proves 100% we're on a globe. It's not a flat plane. And this is the same area that I'm filming in. I'm looking over the same area. Behind the tower from this location is Anchor's home, where I was filming to Barrow in Furness. And that's between those two areas. So how can it be flat across the water and yet substantially dropped from further away from those refractive conditions? So yes, you've got to accept that we do see too far when we're looking over water. The refractive index does allow you to see essentially shore to shore from some fantastic distances. Boats 30 miles away, 18-mile shore to shore observations, things that should be way behind the curve. But the answer is in how the light travels through the atmosphere and the conditions that are necessary to allow that light to bend around the curvature of Earth. And by analysing the bigger picture, i.e. this type of image here, you can determine that what you saw at the beach, you didn't actually see that in its relative position. You saw it in the camera, you saw it with your own eyes, but in those particular cases, you can't trust your own eyes because what you're seeing isn't a true reflection of reality. So I hope that was a very interesting video. I was asked to revisit my previous work and I've done so, and I hope I've explained as the reasons why you can sometimes believe that the Earth is flat when someone is presenting such quality images as I used to do. But on the other side of the coin, you've also got to realise if you take the big picture into account, you can prove that the Earth is a globe. Now don't forget to subscribe, like, leave a comment, and anything else you want to do. I'll see you all in the next one. Take care.